I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 on a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, talk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes, stay in your lane, out of state. I need to know everything, who and the what and the where, I need everything. Trust me, I hear what you're saying, but act like it's new what you're telling me. I'm curious, George, I hop in the Porsche, it's 5 on a horse, I'm ready for war, I'm coming for throats, to turn to a ghost, I need to know everything. Now you be surprised at the info you get is by letting them talk, so I'm letting them talk. Gotta keep quiet, maneuver in silence to let them in, talk up their body, another one body, that's just how it go. I got some secrets, I'm shaking the game so they stay on their toes, stay in your lane, how to stay on the go. I can't play with the pros and act like a rookie, so they overlook me, they're not the beloved, get none of the knows, none of them cold, they just got that because I'm to the one that just coming to blows, my enemies he's cutting it close, I think that they got me.
Hey, did you guys get kicked off stage or something?
I ended up leaving because I couldn't figure out how to like exit. So I was I hit some button to where I couldn't see the video or the audio. So I was like,
oh, okay.
Let me just log out.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, Carlos, you can come on back on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the stage will light up here in a minute, and we can get started. I'll go ahead and get my PowerPoint up here, if I can find it.
Okay.
Okay, got it up, and now I can share it. All right. Okay, looks like the stage is live. Hopefully, everybody's coming out of the networking over to the stage. Carlos, you got a chance to network a little bit. How did you enjoy it?
Oh, it went great.
Okay. Did you meet anybody new?
Oh, no, sir. But I definitely got a lot of encouraging words and a good prep talk.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Okay, hello everyone out there. I'm Lloyd Richard, and this is Startup on the Blocks, and it's a weekly networking event and best practice training for startup founders and for people to learn about the startup ecosystem and learn the best practices of building the startups. All righty, so let's see what we got here. Yes, big news today is, and Carlos, I know you've been waiting to hear about it. We're going to hold our next pitch event on the 16th of December, and we should open up the applications by November 1st. So keep your eyes and ears open for that. The First Bank came on as a sponsor to help us out with funding that, and it sponsored our first 2 pitch competitions, and we're excited to have them as a partner, as well as our Gulf Coast Minority Chamber and also the Bantucola Chamber. They support the pitch competition with for the first prize winner. So we sure their support and their support our Startup on the Blocks program. Bantucola, Chris Hendry, we appreciate him. He's one of our media partners, and he's streaming out on Facebook and several pages there, and also out on LinkedIn. Wherever else, I'm not sure, but we're excited to have him on board helping us out. The Small Business Development Center, they help us with counseling our founders and supporting what we're doing here. And Gulf Power is, of course, one of our founding sponsors. We appreciate their work in the community with economic development and supporting what we're doing. So today we got Frank Goodman and Carlos. So we got 2 different Black founders, and we're looking forward to hearing and chatting with them. Next week we'll have Dr. Nashley Cephas, and we're looking forward to having her on to learn her startup story and what she's doing there in Jackson with her Bean Path program. It sounds pretty exciting. Matthew Hedrick, he'll be on in the near future, hopefully sometime next month, and he'll be telling us about the 35 Muse program. Yeah, I think you all are going to be interested to hear some things about that, and I learned quite a bit from talking to him, and so I think there's some good things going on there. So here's just a little bit more detailed information about what we do. We are an inclusive ecosystem builder. We definitely wanted to make here in Northwest Florida, make our entrepreneur and startup ecosystem more inclusive. So we've been doing all we can to help Black and Brown founders be a part of the ecosystem and connect them to opportunities. So we mainly help people who are thinking about becoming a founder and existing founders that are already out there on their journey. And we're kind of at that beginning stage, idea stage, where people often complain about the lack of funding and stuff, but you have to get ready for that funding through training and making sure you're building your startup using the best practices. And so that's kind of good. But we help out with funding through our pitch competition and also and stuff like that as well. So try to do our part. We do these weekly events, and so our main thing is we actually like to connect you to resources, so you know that so that you don't have to spend a whole lot of money getting started, and that's what we're about there. Yeah, Carlos, welcome. Um, uh, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, yes, sir. My name is Carlos Kyles, and I'm an inspiring artist. And I got two companies that I'm wanting to start though. I want to start a profit known as Polysaw, and a non-profit though known as Pressure Create Diamonds.
Wow. Okay.
With Polysaw, it's an art company, and I want to that to be the beginning of me though using creative ideas though through art though to help students heal from the trauma of of bullying. And I'll even share real quick that growing up though I was bullied. One of the main things I dealt with a lot though in high school though was being called names, being cussed out, and on a regular basis somebody wanted to punch me in the face though, because when I was dealing with that when I was young though, like it wasn't easy, and I couldn't see why I was going through this. But once I became an adult though, I began to realize that bullying is like pressure. If you don't crack under that pressure, it can only make you stronger. And that's why I came up with the name Polyshaw, because it combines the words polish and heal, and that will help me though to heal from the trauma of bullying, which is a really strong form of rejection though, is focusing on like improving myself. And as I did that though, I felt so much better about myself, and it made me realize though, hey, I'm not any of those you know mean things, because because when you're so used to being called dumb though, but yet you succeed academically though, and that's a goal you accomplished though, you feel good though, because you're proving the bullies though wrong though. Hey, I'm not dumb. Hey, I don't have to allow negative things to define who I am. And that's why with the nonprofit Purse Creates Diamonds, I'm developing a curriculum though called How to Be a Diamond with a Story to Tell, which will teach students though how to, you know, seek their healing though through self-improvement, and helping to understand that there are so many ways so that they can heal and improve them.
What happened there? Come on back on, Carlos. You were doing good there. Yeah, we lost Carlos a minute there. I'm not sure what happened. Look, if you could hear me, Carlos, come back on. Yeah, so it sounds like Carlos had a kind of a traumatic childhood thing there. So we're looking forward to digging a little deeper into that and seeing how he's turning that into an opportunity for a startup. Oh, we lost you there a minute, Carlos. You're back now, and so you were saying that you were bullied in school, and you kind of overcame that, and now you have a startup where you're working on that. So tell us a little bit about your startup, and and like how you plan to make money with it.
Oh yes, like I got a website though, which I'm gonna share in the stage
Yeah,
though in a minute.
go ahead.
Called yeah, I got a website called www.polysol.threadless.com, and I'm gonna one of the revenue streams I want to do though is sell my art though through that website. And in just a moment though, I'm gonna show y'all the website and show you some of the pieces though that I want to sell.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so you got the link in there. That's good. Yeah. So so how does your art? How do you think your art is going to help people the students that have been bullied or being bullied?
Well, I wanted to inspire them. Like I want students to be inspired though, that they can see self in a different light, because comparison is the thief of joy. And if you're always comparing yourself though to the bully, or compared to yourself to someone though who's popular, whoever it may be though, you tend to have a negative look on yourself.
Okay.
But art though, such as drawing, for example, though, can help them to literally draw or paint a more, positive, view of themselves.
Okay.
And they can also begin to learn that it's okay to be yourself, but you can take it a step further and be the best version of yourself though when you do things that are therapeutic, such as art, such as drawing, such as getting a haircut, such as practicing like martial arts though, because I learned though that art itself though has so many healing properties. Not only though can art be used though to communicate or create something beautiful though, like it can help heal though, and it can help you like improve though. For example, with martial arts though, you don't just learn how to punch and kick though, it builds your confidence. It teaches you what to do though in bullying situation though, and it teaches you how to deal with that issue though in a positive light. And hopefully though that will help the bully to begin the hopefully though we want to be able to reach out to the bullies as well though, to help them to understand though that you don't got to put somebody down though to build yourself up, because not only do we want to reach out to the victims of bullying though, but we want to reach out to the bully as well, because because us as humans, we're like a book though. Everybody has a story. Everybody's going through something.
Okay, couldn't you scroll down a little bit and see, so we can see some of the other artwork you have there?
Oh yes, sir. Like that's the symbol though of the company Polysaw. It's a diamond though with grass hair though.
Okay.
A diamond though symbolizing a diamond in the rough, and the grass though itself though symbolizes growth. The piece next to it it's called a power up diamond, where the main character though finds like a power up, like in Super Mario Brothers, because this piece is inspired by Super Mario Brothers, and let's see, I hear there's a still life.
Okay.
That has a Nintendo 3DS and a glove and other items in it. And I'm gonna click the Polysaw real quick and show some of my fine art prints real quick.
Okay. Did you have any training in art or anything?
Oh yes, sir. Though, like I got art mentors that have been teaching me how to draw, teaching me how to paint, and teaching me how to create. And I want to give a quick shout out to Carter J. Gaston. He's my mentor though. He's been teaching me how to grow with the flow. He's a great teacher, and he's also the world's greatest portrait artist.
Okay. Yeah, that's Carter J's model. Yeah. So the so one of the questions that I had I mentioned to you before, and as I meet different artists, suggesting that they start thinking about leveraging or participating in the NFT technology. So have you started looking into that yet?
Oh, yes, sir. Like I've been looking.
Yeah.
I've been looking into that, and I'm gonna also partner though, like with a local artist in Pensacola though, where we're gonna do like digital art, and eventually though, once I have the tools on my own though, I'm gonna do digital art of my own though as well.
Okay, gotcha. That sounds good. Okay, yeah. So let's talk about you've been participating in startup on the blogs for a while. So did you already have your startup stuff going then, or so what have you been learning, and what have you been doing since you got started with startup on the blocks?
Well, since I got started, I already had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do. But once I started going to the startup school and learning more about how to do a startup, I began doing more research. I eventually started polysol.threadless.com, where I'm selling my and I've just been learning more about how like everything works and getting more ideas. And I'm just gonna also let everyone know that not only do I want to sell art though, profit though, I eventually want to develop an app though that helps students to where they'll have access to art therapists, counselors, and many more.
Okay, okay. Sounds good. You mentioned startup school. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on with that for you.
Well, when I first started startup school, it was so new to me though because I was learning about like business and things like that. And I'll even share though, ironically, that when I was a child, I wanted to start a business, and I even went to Alabama school though for a minute though to try to learn about business. But I was trying something else though for a sec though. I even switched to the recording industry though for a minute, which didn't work out. But I eventually came back though to business. But I did find it so amazing though that I'm learning about business though outside, of college though, which has so many blessings, in
Yeah.
itself though.
So,
And
so what's some of the benefits you got out of the startup school? So we're talking about startupschool.org for the folks that don't know. So yeah. So what are some of the benefits and have you met some other founders, or what kind of stuff have you been learning out there?
Oh yes, sir. I like, thanks to technology and going virtual though. Wow, I've been meeting a lot of founders though in India, Japan, Canada, Italy, and that was so amazing though because thanks to going virtual though, I've been getting a taste of culture shock, and it helped me to see myself that even in other countries and cultures though, you have so many people though trying to solve all types of different problems, or they're even trying to do things similar to what you're doing. And I'll even go as far as to say that I learned from some founders though that not only is bullying an issue in America, but bullying is an issue though in other countries as well, such as Canada or Italy, and maybe even Japan. But bullying itself is a major issue though, even all over the world.
So you're saying you actually were able to, through the startup school, you were able to connect with founders, all over the world?
Oh yes, sir.
Okay. So what are some of the things that startup school actually offers? Offer you that you participated within startup school? It sounds like you got a chance to network a lot, but what do you say about the training and stuff like that? That you've been getting.
Well, I'm gonna describe it like this though. Like startup school though has video that break down so many different aspects though of the Lean campus and the methodologies that are always mentioned though. They break it down though kind of like piece by piece, and they have these networking sessions to where you network with founders around the world, and you do it virtually though on a program that is similar to a video game, which I think is really awesome. And when it comes to pitch competitions, though, they even offer chances, though, for anyone that wants to practice their pitch, though, to practice. And that's been helping me a lot, though. I get to practice my pitch. I criticism, and I even like the fact that some people, though, will be so honest and so direct, though. And anytime you get a chance, though, to practice your pitch, though, with people that'll give like great critiques and they'll be honest with you, though, that can only help you though to get better though. Because what you do though, either you're spot on or you're spot off, as I like to say.
Okay, yeah. So what are some of the things you've been participating in here locally, besides startup on the blocks?
Oh, I participated though in G Alpha, which taught me, basically, helped me to get a better idea though of what I'm trying to do, and things that I'm trying to and what direction I'm trying to go. And I connected with founders though that worked with schools and children, and it even helped me though, with my pitching, and it gave me a better idea of what areas though to go, like to go for, what my target, you know, market should be, or as I like to say though, it really helped me to polish up my like my pitching skills, and also helped me to get a better idea though on how to do research though about the market or whatever subject though that I'm trying to do, or especially though, like the problem, as well as who to talk to, or who to try to, network with.
Okay, that's good. Anything else?
Oh, yes, sir. I'll even share though that when it comes to different people that I network with, I learned though that it'll be a good idea for me though to try to network with people though that are involved with organizations that work with kids, such as like different school organizations, youth pastors, and pastors, and basically like anyone though who's who work with children all the time, because when it comes to adults that work with kids all the time, they can give you a really good perspective though on the bullying issue. And eventually I won't be able to talk the kids though, but it's best though that you connect with adults in different organizations though, first though, because anything you do, you got to do it decently and in order, so you won't get in trouble, basically.
Yeah, I've seen you on at 1 Million Cups too. So so tell me how have you been leveraging that?
Oh yes, it gives me a chance though, from time to time though, to like to pitch, to watch others pitch, and to take advantage of different resources though that that they suggest, and basically though 1 Million Cups though open doors, and when you practice your pitch or show your idea though, it gives you a chance though to see like what areas you're strong in, what area you're weak in, and how to get stronger in those areas as a startup founder.
Yeah, so like so you've been participating in a lot of things. So like if somebody's got an idea for a startup, um, would you say they can, by leveraging the ecosystem, they can get the help they need? Or, like, did you imagine that it was that much help out there for you for free to kind of help you with your idea?
Well, like I definitely didn't have no idea that there was so much help. And a lot of people are scared of criticism though, but I welcome it, because like if you're one though, and if you're especially looking for honest criticism though, like 1 Million Cups though, for example though, and even here though is a good place to start, because there are so many founders though that, of course, knowing the fact that most startups fail though, you want to like give your best. And if something is wrong, or if there's an area where you can get stronger in though, hey, they want to know, shoot, I would want, like want I want to know, because
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, but I think you're a good example of the fact that there's a lot of help out in the ecosystem, and you just have to get involved in the ecosystem and get started. And you've been also taking advantage of the office hours as well. Learning, getting advice on getting feedback on what you're thinking about, and getting directions on how to move forward. Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah. So you have any advice that you would give to someone that's thinking about becoming a founder or whatever, based on what your experience has been?
Oh, yes, sir. Like if your dream is to be a founder and you want to pursue your passion though, go for it. And I'll just warn you though, like some people will try to talk you out of it, or try to swerve you from it though. Like don't let that happen. And you definitely want to not only take advantage of the resources out there like I did though, but if somebody wants to mentor you though, go for it though, because if you have a mentor, and better yet though, if you can get a mentor and start developing like a team though, that will only increase your chances of being more successful. So
Yes.
it's
Anybody got any questions for Carlos, out in the audience or on Facebook? Carlos, we definitely appreciate you sharing your story, and I think you're a great testament to taking advantage of the resources out there to help you grow and make progress on your start. So how much have you had to pay for on your startup journey so far? Have you had to pay for any advice or mentoring or anything?
Uh, hmm. I haven't had to pay. I haven't had to pay too much though. I think the only thing I had to pay for really though is just this Chromebook, which cost over $200, what I brought though last year. But I think that's the most I spent though, really.
Yeah. Okay. But you haven't had to pay for participating in any of those things you've been doing, right? It's been pretty much free help, right?
Oh yes, sir. I'm sorry. Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. Natalie says hello from Facebook. Alrighty. Okay, Carlos, we appreciate you sharing your story. And Frank, why don't you come up and see if you got any questions for Carlos? Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Carlos? You did a great job, man. I definitely admire your courage, man. Like it's definitely important to power through, man. So it's just great hearing your story and how you overcoming all of those things that happened early on. So yeah. Tip my hat to you, man.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
That's great. All right, Carlos, we sure appreciate your insights and inputs, and we're gonna go ahead and get started with Frank now and see and get to know him a little bit. Thanks a lot, Carlos.
Yes, sir.
All right, bye-bye. All right, Frank. So, how are you doing today?
All right, man. How's everything?
Oh, it's going good, and so it's always good to get people on to tell a story. And Carlos, he's been really diligent about getting the help, taking advantage of the resources. We got quite a few other founders out there that are not leveraging the ecosystem like he is, and so keep moving. So I guess you and I, we connected through my daughter Natalie up in the DC area. So why don't you kind of introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself?
All right, yeah. So my name is Frank Goodman. I'm based out of DC area, like Mr. Rashad said. And basically, I started my first business in 2000. Well, even before that, like I did the whole corporate America, came out of school, I did my undergrad, I'm computer engineering and system engineering. So that's my foundation. And I always had like this thing for art as well, but I kind of went the digital route. So I don't really draw pictures in that kind of way, but I'll show you more of my focus we built. So after corporate America, got tired of getting high fives and things like that instead of actual reward and seeing my impact. I decided to start my business in 2010 called Bleeding Bulb. And that, the name is a little weird, but it's all about helping small businesses grow, right? So we help them websites, apps, business consulting, and marketing. Those are the 4 areas that we kind of focus on. And so it's natural for me, anytime that I see a problem or an opportunity, I think tech. Like I think about what's the most efficient or easiest way for us to solve different problems. And so recently, after the pandemic kind of hit and the George Floyd situation kind of happened, which is part of the reason why it became more apparent of or it grabbed more people's attention and things like that. It also made me sit down and reflect a little bit. And I'm like, this has been a challenge that we've dealt with for a very long time. And there's other challenges that we face in the Black community that are unique to us. And it comes and it's beyond just like financial. We could talk reparations and we could talk all of these other things, but it's more than that. Like there's blockers in our mind, that's been kind of placed there, and we need we just need to be able to unpack certain things. So I started to think about what is a way for us to be able to start to build more unity within our community, because we're kind of broken right now, right? It may seem like individual people or individual families are starting to do better, but as a community, we're broken. And we also know our community, it also holds on to the Black dollar our community holds on to our dollar the shortest amount of time period. Like we're heavy consumers, we consume everything, but when it comes to ownership and it comes to wealth, we're way down the list, And so I really wanted to focus on like asking myself and asking some friends around me, like, what would it take for us to get equality, or what would it take for us to, feel like we have more of a fair shot, feel like this is more of a home, and all of these other things, like all of the different things that we deal with, like the code switching or the, or kind of like walking on eggshells. Some people have these feelings. Not everyone can relate, but I think like a large group of, Black people kind of deal with these type of things. And so I was like, what type of, when it comes to resources, when it comes to, just being comfortable, do we have a safe space? And how does that work? So Clubhouse came out, and I was like, this is pretty cool. Like a lot of people, came on there and like they were having a good time. And then all of a sudden it started to die down a bit. And so I was like, man,
so
what happened?
hold on a minute,
Yeah.
Frank. So you unpacked a lot right
Oh, I'm
there.
sorry.
No, that was good. I think it was, deal, and so you were kind of getting where you were leading up to what your next project that you're working on right now, I guess. But before you do that, and we can start back off with Clubhouse in a minute and how you sprung forward from there. But you kind of glossed over engineering school in corporate America. So
Yeah.
So let me hold on. Let's stop. So what
right.
made you decide to go in engineering or computer engineering, or what majoring in?
For sure. So me as a youth, like I wasn't a scholar or anything. I was actually always in trouble, right? So I was the kid that was always in some type of trouble. What ended up happening, believe it or not, like I had a girlfriend at the time, and when it hit like junior year, I was always in at-risk youth type programs and all of that type of stuff. And then so when it came time for school, like the word college had never been used in my household in life. Like we just never said that word ever.
Gotcha.
In our household, my grandparents dropped out of high school, stuff like that. And so my dad was in the military though. So he was the one that took that first step in getting out of our area and starting to, find out what else was out there, right? Okay. So he was one of the brave ones that kind of took that leap and jumped off the porch in that kind of way at an early age. So for me, like my childhood was, around things like that. But when I got to, I think it was sophomore year, my parents went to Germany. So when I was 15, I stayed behind. And so I kind of grew up a little early, because, I was supposed to spend part of the time with my sister, but then things happened and I was no longer able to stay there. So some days it was like no place to stay, little car thing, and this, that, and the other. So, but my parents, they full of love, like it was nothing negative like that. It's just, I wanted to stay behind. They ended up agreeing. And so when it was time for junior year or whatever, right, and everyone's figuring out what they're going to do, I just never had that in my household. And so my girlfriend, she was actually smart. She was like straight A student type person. Like I always ended up with smart, females. So one day my counselor came to me and was like, in one of those groups, and was like, yo, your girl is going to leave you. And I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, she's going to marry. She's going to go to college and find a Trevor. And I was like, what is a Trevor? You know what I mean? And he was like, yeah, he's going to be a guy that is a trust fund baby. He's going to come from an educated family, and you're going to be working at Foot Locker or something, And he said that to me. And yeah, seriously. And I just like, I'm just like, whatever, like, you know what I mean? Get out of my face type thing, like, and acted like it didn't bother me, but I literally didn't sleep, man. Like I couldn't sleep. Like it just kept playing in my head. And so long story short, like senior year, I hit straight A's all year. But and so everyone was like surprised and shocked and all of that other stuff, but it was day late, dollar short because my GPA was trash. I was a CD student, DC student, so having straight A's the last year, if you look over 4, like that's really not, gonna really like
that's
be
like
super impressive.
1/4 for the whole thing.
Exactly. So it was kind of like, man, where's this guy been? Because even when I was younger, like they tried to do different things. Like they tried to put me in advanced classes because I would act out, and they thought it was because I wasn't being challenged enough and things like that. So they tried to do different things, but I would just keep getting kicked out. Like I used to have my classroom used to be outside of the class. Like they would bring my work outside while everybody else inside to get like it would just be things like that, right?
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, you know, I applied for different schools and got rejected for all of them. And I didn't really care. I never had plans to go to college in the first place. I was more trying to, you know, follow my girl, you know. So yeah, so at the end of the day, I was stuck and I was just like, forget college. Like, I just won't do it. And then her mom was like, sit down and like, you need to write a letter. And I was like, I ain't writing no letter. I'm good. And she was like, I'm not asking. You need to sit down. Mm-hmm. And then she was like, tell me your story because your story is unique. Your parents being in Germany, you kind of raising yourself to a certain degree, right? And then so she was typing as I was talking. And then she printed it out and put it in an envelope back, you know, and was like, put it in the mailbox or whatever. And I was just like, whatever. A month or so went by, didn't hear anything. So I just assumed, you know, I was getting the little letters, you know, like people were getting the big envelopes. I was getting the little ones with the rejection letter. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, time went by and then I was told to just call and just check. And so I called the school. It was ODU actually, and I was like, hey, I just wanted to check. I sent you a letter. I don't know if you read it, but you know, and they was like, one moment, and they was like, we changed our decision. You've been accepted. And so like for my parents, like they didn't even know I was applying to school because I didn't want to disappoint them because like I was never really like. So I didn't want to set myself up to like disappoint. So I just didn't tell anybody. Like they knew, the family knew, you know, my girl's family knew because they the one who wrote the letter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when it came back, I was like really excited, you know, and I didn't know what to think. Like I told my parents and they was going crazy and was like, we'll find a way to pay it. It don't matter. Like you're going like, yo, we'll figure it out type thing. And so, you know, when I went to college, you know, I started to, you know, the environment was a lot of people, you know, doing work, you know, so I was able to and I was always a quick learner. Like that's one of the things that I always benefited from. Like it didn't take me a long time to be able to catch on something and be able to execute. Yeah. And so that really helped me out. And so after I went to undergrad, then. But
like, so what got you interested in the tech stuff, the engineering stuff?
Yeah, so a guy before I went to school, another counselor was like, "Hey Frank, you need to do something like he said, do something everyone's afraid of it because everyone knew I was heavily like motivated by money. Mm-hmm. You know, as a younger, I was, you know what I mean, like motivated by money, and so they were like, you need to choose something people are afraid of, and at that time. Everyone was afraid of the computer. Wow. You know, like people wouldn't even want to open a computer really, you know, and stuff like that. So that's not, and what I took had nothing to do with opening a computer but for people that didn't know anything, like it's all the same, right? It's a scary machine. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, they say one of the more difficult majors was computer engineering. And someone told me that I wasn't gonna be able to complete it because I didn't go to a smaller HBCU. So I kind of had a little chip on my shoulder, and I thought it was important for me to show that I could graduate because in the letter, it closed out by saying like, you know, I would appreciate, you know, with there being such a gap, you don't go from being a DC student to a straight A without a story. And if you accept me, I will complete, you know what I mean? I will complete this degree and stuff like that. So for me, it was like I wanted to do it for my parents and just like because I was first generation, you know, and all of that other stuff. So I just wanted to kind of keep them proud. And then, you know, after that, it was like all of a sudden my parents changed and they was like, you got to go for your master's. You got to go for your doctors. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I barely even went for, you know, bachelor's. Yeah. So, you know, I already did the computer engineering. That's why I chose that route and I stuck with it. I stuck with it, you know. And then so it was natural for me that I didn't even apply for a job when I was graduating. It was crazy. Like I just got a call by Lockheed Martin. And it was like, can we fly you down to DC? And they brought me on. I was able to work at Northrop Grumman early on. And these are like 1-2 companies, you know, work on biological detection systems back with anthrax and stuff like that to be able to be in a postal service and clap. I mean, it would basically slam the papers together to allow dust to go up. We collect, test against things like that to detect anthrax. So was able to get all of that stuff done, went into corporate America, and it was okay, but you know, I always had a problem with authority. So I don't like anybody. I really always had a problem with people over me and things like that, and kind of telling me what I, you know, had to do versus suggesting what I should do, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And so I was doing fine. I was pretty known from, whether it be my demeanor or how I am. Like I wasn't like, I never had the code switch type thing with me. I'm a consistent person. And how I am in most situations, or basically all situations. So, you know, I kind of stood out to a certain degree because I ended up at Booz Allen. That was really what I consider more of a game changer for me, because I didn't even know what consulting was. And so when I went to Booz Allen, I learned what consulting was. And I also discovered UX, which is me taking me back to childhood, drawing from the cereal box. Now I find out that there's a guy on the team who's not coding at all. He's not coding from back end, right? He's actually designing the interface. And so that was my introduction to that, to where I was like, wow, you're marrying the tech with the design. That's my lane. That's what I want to do. And no one wants to get rid of a back end developer because they see computer engineering and they're like, no, like I see dollar signs. Like I just want to, because I was in the cleared space. So I had a full scope, the highest clearance. And so obviously like that's a smaller pool. They have higher rates and things like that, right? And so, I mean, at one point, I think the breaking point was, you know, management asked me for a design, because different managers will always call me into, even government officials, they would call me into meetings because I was a very straightforward person. And I would just kind of tell them, if they act, like a lot of people were afraid to speak to certain people. And I just kind of viewed everyone, you know, I look left and right. I don't really look up and down. You know what I mean? So like if I'm in there and you're saying something and you want my feedback, I'll give you my honest feedback no matter who you are. And so they would pull me into a lot of different meetings, and I started to get a name for myself within the space. And also I had the rare ability to where like a lot of people, you're either a developer, because they say it's two different parts of the brain. You usually draw and be technical. It's usually like a different thought process in the way that you think. So, you know, with me being able to play both roles and having a technical background, I ended up being a liaison in most situations, because I was able to communicate with the customer and identify requirements and be able to come up with a solution. And I could also translate it to the development team as a lead to be able to get us to execute on what the requirements.
That sounds like some really key skills. And so you transition out of corporate America and founded your company doing development and design work for small businesses.
So the way that it started was, you know, other people that's on the project, people always had side hustles and jobs, right? And so people saw my work on the job, and so they already knew it was a safe bet for them. So I started to get like business that I was doing on the side, and then it got to the point to where the breaking point was really Booz Allen. One time they contacted me, management, and they were like, hey, look, we need a quick turnaround. I need this in like 2 days. And it was like some designs and stuff. And I'm pretty fast with like designing. And so I delivered it, and they gave me like a high five. It was like, yo, you got us $40,000. And I was just like, they didn't give me $1. Like, they gave me a high five. And you just told me you made $40,000. I gotta be able to at least get $5,000. You know what I mean? So after that, I was on a mission, man.
You're a worker, you know.
After that, I was on a mission. I was on a mission after that. Because even in interviews, I would always like, I was that employee where I'd be like, look, I don't do 9 to 5. You know, like I don't do micromanagers. If that doesn't work for you, it's not gonna work for me. It's probably not gonna work out. And so just a very like, you know, that's just always been my kind of thing. And there's risk to it, but I was always okay with the risk, you know. I was always okay with the reject. So, you know, Bleeding Bug was formed. Now I start just being a tech shop. And later on, I realized after putting out different products for different companies, like around their app, it would fall flat every time. And so initially it bothered me, but it didn't really like get to me too much because I knew I delivered what I was supposed to deliver.
But
one day a client was like, or a prospect said, name something that was successful. And I was like thinking to myself, like, I don't have anything to do with its success. My job is to successfully build the product.
Yeah.
I can't determine the success of the product.
Yeah.
You know? And then so after just seeing things keep happening, I was like, I'm kind of doing a disservice. Like, it's not right to know what you're about to deal with and not play a part in that. So that's when I started to incorporate more of like business consulting and marketing and saying like, hey, look, there are things that you need to do prior to launch. There are things that you need to do while you're developing. There's focus groups. There's, you know, marketing campaigns. There's things that you do before you even put an app out. But a lot of people that don't understand tech or understand the process, what they'll do is they'll wait until it's complete and then they want to market. Well, it's too late. It takes time.
Yeah. So like, you know, I think those are some good points. So like the bottom line. So when you think about the lean startup methodology and this whole startup ecosystem stuff, you're not even supposed to build something until you have a customer willing to pay for it, you know?
Yeah. Validation. Yeah.
And so a lot of people have ideas of, you know, for applications or apps or whatever. And I always tell, you know, people that ask, you know, for help, I say, well, you know, it doesn't matter to me what your idea is, but you know, if you want me to help you, you got to follow this methodology, because that methodology will lead you to where you need to go, no matter where you start from. And so that's kind of what's key. Yeah. And so but it also sounds like you know, I get your point, you know, that the companies you built out for them and you did what they asked you to do. And, but the deal is it just goes to show people, you know, they're not following a proven methodology that works. And so, and that's what the startup ecosystem is all about, is if you follow the methodology, you have less chance of failure. You know, of course there are going to be failures, but the idea is you fail fast. You learn from your mistakes and pivot to what the customer actually wants a need. And so you said you were participating in Clubhouse and you saw some change that led you to your project that you're working on now. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So even at the BB, like there were other startups that I was a part of, right? Like I've been a part of startups where we got the attention of Time Magazine, where they came out for a 2-day video shoot, like rented out a house and all of this crazy stuff. So it's been good experiences along the way, but at the end of the day, like whether it be the business model or the partnership, it didn't work out, you know? Okay. And so with this particular one, after the George Floyd, like I was saying, and all of that, I was like, okay, you know, we always complain like, oh, it ain't gonna do nothing but go to the street and go home and then forget about it and then it happen again. Like we always saying things like that, or we're always talking about, you know, complaining about like, oh, I don't have this, oh, we don't have that, we don't have, but it's like, how do we become more solution driven? How do we start to say like, okay, how can we like and I don't want to call it begging to offend anyone, you know what I mean? But it's like at some point we have to say like other people can work on certain things, but like we need to do things to at least like make our situation better. Like right now, like you don't wait for everything to get better, like you make it get better.
Yeah, you have to make it happen. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, from engineering, I'm always trying to break down something, right? So I'm always like, okay, this is the problem and what's the root? Like, how do we get there? Like, what are the different personalities? Like, what are the challenges that we have? Not just like from a physical or financial, like emotional and all of these other things. And like, what are some challenges we have in the community, whether it be trust, devaluing each other's worth and all of these other things. Like these are things from hundreds of years. So it's like, it's truly embedded in some of our makeup, and it's going to be hard to unlearn and relearn certain, you know, what views and things like that. So I was just like, okay, what's the thing that stood out to me about Clubhouse when it came out was how many Black people came into this app and like really like just had a ball for a while, right? And then I was like, man, that's the first step, whether it be violence, whether it be money, whether it be anything, is building a relationship. That's going to affect trust. Like if we could build a relationship and we could repair our trust issues, then we'll start to fix our value issues. And, you know, and all of these other things. From violence, it's harder for you to let something happen to a person that you know. you know, things like that, right? And so I was like, okay, relationships is definitely something we have to focus on. It can't be strictly educational because it's going to be too boring and it's going to limit the audience. We're going to have to get people in there, attract them with something that is going to be exciting and give them something to do that's going to start to build these relationships, and those relationships can start to guide them to these other directions as far as like, you know, skill sets and
yeah. So I never thought about Clubhouse as an app for building relationships.
Yeah.
But you saying that's one of the key aspects of it is because you're actually, you know, in little small networks of groups, you know, chatting, you know, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, it's a topic, right? I mean, for you to join a room, there has to be some commonality. Like there has to be something in common that you have for you to have the interest of even stepping in a room. So
yeah, I think that's a key point because you know that's what networking is about. You kind of you have to have some common interest of whatever, and so you know you may have a network because the people in there are interested in children. You know, you may have a network because people are interested in art or whatever. So that's one of the key aspects of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then I was like, you know, then I had to think about differentiators and things like that. Like this wasn't created to be a Clubhouse. This is not a version of Clubhouse. It's called Build, right? And so when we think about different social media, and I think what also hurts not just our community, just people in general, is this idea of instant gratification or like that everyone is built. And so I was very intentional about calling it Build because we're all trying to progress. We're all trying to be something better than what we currently are. But it seems like on a lot of the social media platforms, everyone's a guru. Everyone's already built. It's like they already got it. It's like, I'm a millionaire. I'm already this. I got all of this. Life is great. Life is this. But what about the people that need an accountability partner? What about the people that really feel like I'm lost? So I really need some guidance. So I really want to find a mentor. I really want to find talent and things like that. Because I mean, from corporate America to these other, you know, organizations, they'll say, I can't find Black talent. And that's the reason why we won't hire. They'll say that's because we're all spread out. Everything is all over the place. There's no central place where we connect and we come together, or a place for you to even discover talent. And so it's like when you start to think about LinkedIn and you start to think about these other things, it's like if you wanted to find a talented Black engineer because you specifically wanted to find that, how do you do it right now? If you wanted to say a message, and every conversation isn't for everyone, right? If you need to unpack some of the things that we've dealt with and we carry internally, right? Like it's not necessarily for all audiences to participate in until we're ready, you know? And so how do we have a space to where we can start to just like reflect and ask the right questions to each other, challenge each other to where it's not on the front page of everywhere. We don't need to do it in public. Like it's almost like my parents with relationships and things. I was kind of brought up like, if you got issues, you handle that in the house, but you don't come to the public with your stuff like that. And it's like, because we don't own anything, because we don't have platforms and these type of things, we're almost forced to use a hashtag and think that that's a way for us to communicate or for us to give out information. And it's just not effective because there's so much noise and you have algorithms and all of these other things in place. And so I really wanted to create a place to where it's really for people that's genuinely trying to support each other. And just because it's for the Black community don't mean allies aren't welcome. Allies are absolutely welcome, right? But you're coming in with the intent of helping the Black community, right? Because that, and it's not to single out, and this wasn't built off of hate, it's more love, right? But there's things that we need to handle because this is a problem we've had for a very long time. And like, we need to start getting down to why is it that when I see you build something, I think I got to build something. Or when I see this, like, I feel like these different feelings that we have with our own, like, are just not, that's not what other communities necessarily like deal with. Like, there's a lot of things that we just have some unpacking to do, you know? And I just think that we need a space to be able to do it, but we also need a way to create wealth. And I think when I think about ways of creating wealth, part of it is the build aspect, because you can go in there and say, like, what type of person am I when you're coming in? It's like, are you a visionary? Are you a connector? Are you a this? It's like, because if I'm a visionary, I may suck at execution. Because what happens is you have people that are great at execution, but they can't think of an idea. And you have people with all the ideas and they can't execute. But what platform can you go to and say, I need a visionary or I need a person that executes? It's just not as easy for you to be able to make these connections, right? Especially if you want to deal with a particular, community like our community, where people seem to not be able to find, talent and things like that. So, you have that, and then you have industry. So from you being able to find people to start building relationships based off of something like that, that could lead to cooperative economics, or, for us to start to pool money together, for you to, go after certain, thing, whether it be investing in real estate or whatever you want to do. Or maybe it's a business, you're looking for a co-founder, you need a visionary that matches, just making the connection, right?
Okay.
And then we also think about, like, when you're in Clubhouse, once you go to a person's profile, you're kind of stuck. You either going out to Instagram or you're just reading. And I'm like, if I'm having a discussion or I'm talking about something, no, when you hit the profile, you can see their products and services. You can see if they have a shop. You can schedule time on their calendar for a consultation. So no matter if it's about mentorship or if it's a service that you offer, a person can now sign up. So now this could be another stream of revenue for people, even if they have a 9-to-5, because they could just do it in the evening. But it allows you to just, everything is about how can we make more money, and keep the dollar a little bit longer. It's really about wealth. And I think, like, as we build these relationships and as we start to unpack these things, like, it's going to take a while, and I don't expect this to be overnight. I know it's going to be very difficult to get some people to even, like, really, really jump on board. Because some people, they seem to think, like, if you are a part of something like this, to where it's like to help the Black community, that you're anti-white or anything else. And that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? It's not what it's about. So there's a level of education that I think has to be, like, communicated to the public, and it's just going to take some time, and it's going to take some proof, right? And I think the main thing is we're going to get real builders in there, because we call them builders, and we're going to show real results. I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to act like you got it all and you got it all figured out, play with the other platforms. If you come into this platform, we want you to be vulnerable. We want you to be comfortable being vulnerable, and we want you to actually build. We want to help you move towards whatever your goals are, whether it be financial, spiritual, or whatever it is, physical. Okay. And so just really trying to make it full circle. And even with the nonprofit arm, what I'm looking to do with that is, and I'll go ahead and start to share my screen so people can get an idea and just start to have a visual. Yeah. But with the nonprofit, you'll be able to, so after I have an idea, just to give you an idea about the process, like, I'll just think of something and then I just start drawing, right? And so with the nonprofit arm, this will be a place where you can vote. So the way that it'll work is following the idea of, like, politicians. When they're going for in politics, like, they'll take small donations and they add up to big dollars. And so, like, what we would want to do is say, we only have $3 pledge or 36 for a year. So you could either do $3 a month or you could do 36 for the year, but you only do $3. And the idea is we don't want to create a hierarchy or a tier system to where it's like anyone has anything over anyone else. We're all doing $3 and we're going to go off of numbers, right? And so the idea is every month people can nominate causes, and the community determines how that money is allocated, and it's all transparent. Like, it literally shows every line value of how, I don't care if it's down to a PayPal fee, everything is disclosed to everyone that has pledged or given a one-time donation.
So you're saying that part of this build application, you have a feature in there that it's a nonprofit feature. Is that what you just said?
Yes. Correct. So basically what I'm saying is, since this is about the Black community, right? So this is how you would go in, essentially, right? Like, attention queens, kings, giants. That's how we refer to each other, because we're royalty, right? And then you'll go in and put your information in. You have your profile things. Yeah, I could give you an idea. So let's say from the side menu, you will be able to go to Build Foundation. It's grayed out because that's not available right now. You'll also have a badge if you became a pledger. Well, Apple doesn't allow us to have nonprofit organizations in an app mixed with paid. It's not a thing they'll reject you, right? And so what we have to do is when you click, so basically this is how it will look when you're going to vote, right? So you'll be able to, after you sign up and pledge, every month, people can nominate every single month. And there'll be different categories like neighborhood causes, dreamers, scholarships and grants, or whatever. We'll allocate percentages to each of the categories. And the difference is it's not a one wins all. It's not like it's all or nothing. Basically, the percentages match to the dollar value. So if you think about like if there was $10 that we collected over the month, right? And one person got 1 vote, another person got 2 votes. One person is going to get $1 and the other person gets 20. Okay. It's gonna directly reflect to what the community has voted, down to the vote. And so every month this is cleared out and funds are dispersed. And then we start back taking nominations, and those $3, so that next month, it's gonna go to that next cause.
Yeah, so that's one of the features. So so you said Build is it's an application for Black people. It's a network social application for Black people and their allies. And so like, how do you make money on this particular application?
Yeah, so to be clear, like Build app is for profit. Okay. The company name is Trying to Build, right? The company name is Trying to Build, and this app is for profit. The only reason why I brought up the nonprofit is when I brought up full circle. So I didn't mean to confuse you. This app is for profit, and the way that we make money in this app, our business model, basically we have one-time fees and we also have subscription, 3-tier subscription. Okay. Right? So for an example, if a person wants to schedule, if a person wants to create, if you want someone to book time on your calendar, right? You can create your own course, right? You can create your own schedule. We're going to take a percentage of what you make off your call, right? Because we're hosting it. Gotcha. If you want to have a session, the same way in Clubhouse, if you want to have a session, right? If you make that session paid, we will take a percentage off of that. These are all one time, right? If you have an event and it is paid, we would take a percentage off of that.
So you said you can host an event within the app or
Absolutely. Yeah. So it's 2 different ways that you can look at it. One is I'm thinking like the future of conferences, because I was thinking, pandemic and all of this other stuff. And it's like, okay, everyone can't always fly to a conference. So why don't you offer a discounted rate for a person to listen in? And then also another difference is inside the audio sessions, you'll also be able to cut on your camera. So sometimes I found that you just need to show something, and that's a part of the subscription tier. So everyone won't be able to turn on that camera. You will have to pay X amount dollars per month. And that would open up that feature for you.
Gotcha.
So that's an example of one of the tiers. Another tier is the watch parties. Like if you imagine right now, when we watch movies or watch TV shows, we watch them and then we talk about it with our friends. But with this, a person could upload a short film. I mean, one day the idea is hopefully it'd be like I don't care if it's Kevin Hart or whoever, but they'll say, hey, I want to test this against the Black community first or something like that. And like, I'm going to upload this and have our preview there. And then you can invite your circles, because there's a thing called circles, just basically so you can save a group of people. So you don't have to keep inviting the same people every time. You can invite your different circles to watch it with you real time, and y'all can leave and y'all can chat together while you're watching it. So now we can have watch parties. So it's like, it's a more engaging experience when you're actually watching things, instead of you watching something and have to call someone after and just talk about it. Like y'all would have had a chat. And the benefit to one of the tiers, the higher tiers in a subscription is, if you're the creator, you have access to the whole transcript of every single session. So now you get real feedback when you were not there, and you can read through the comments and say like, man, they really liked it, or hey, they really didn't like it. And so it's a way for you to get honest feedback, and and everyone needs that. But again, there's a cost associated with that, right? Goes back to the percentage. So these are all one times, but the 3-tier subscription, those will be the things that people will pay monthly to unlock other features.
So would you say Bill is more of an app based on economics, so that allows the individual user to make money?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about making money. Even like we have shops, right? Right now we have 35,000 Black-owned businesses. Right now we have 35,000 Black-owned businesses across the nation. So the idea is like, I wanted to be to where it's not like you got to do this all the time. And that's why even when people talk about Clubhouse, I'm not saying ditch Clubhouse. I'm not saying ditch Instagram. I'm not saying ditch any of that. But sometimes you just want to feel like you're at home. Sometimes you don't want to feel like, like you just want to relax and you just want to have good conversation. And like, this should be a group of people that are all about positive vibes and just, you know what I mean? And so like, the culture is going to be important, but yeah, so there's 35,000 Black-owned businesses. And even with this, when they add a product or service, it'll be like a fee for them to add a product or service. To add your business is free. But to add a product and service, which stands out on the product and service the product and service page, that's what you would be paying for. So for you to be discovered, where it actually displays the products and services, you have to pay for that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to associate products and services if you don't want to.
Yeah, but like if you sell a product or service on there, do you collect a percentage of that as well?
No, so I don't take a percentage. Because what I do from an integration standpoint, from a technology standpoint, I looked at it as like, I don't want people to leave their existing e-commerce solution or whatever they already have. It's too difficult to be trying to tie things in or run 2 stores, right? And so what I said was, I was like, look, you're going to be able to add your products and service here and they'll be discoverable here, but the link is just going to take them to whatever you already have. Okay, gotcha. So that way, from a technical perspective, we're able to skip all the integration and the other technical issues we would run into with so many different platforms.
So how would you characterize the value you're bringing compared to an individual? So what do you think your unique value is, or how do you think you stand out, beyond your competition?
As far as
so it sounds like, because I kind of originally thought of your thing as a Black social media network, but it's more like a Black economic network.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is.
So there is a question two in here. So let me see, can I back up here? Everybody likes your story, and it keeps telling it, and it says keep telling that. And Chris, he said, and do we get a test drive? So
absolutely, we're actually in beta right now. I didn't want to release it until we hit 2,000 people because I don't want it to fall flat. It's going to be very important that we're already engaging. But what we just started, even this week, right, is like we started accountability sessions, and this is what I mean by proof, right? Like if you go to these other platforms, people are talking and all of that, but this is action driven. So what I'm saying is, we just had a conversation yesterday, and it was like people were so vulnerable. And granted, this is only 4 of us in this particular session, and you might be like, man, 4 people, that's it. But it's like, if we have 500 solid people or 1,000 solid people, real people that truly support you, that's going to beat 1 million followers on Instagram that I have for them bots and people that just barely got to think twice to even leave a like or comment on your stuff, And so we're there and we're having a conversation. We're talking about like these blockers that we have in our mind, how we've blocked ourselves from success. Why is it taking so long? Why are we holding back? Why are we using perfectionism as an excuse? So we're really unpacking like, why am I viewing myself this way? Why am I stopping myself from certain things that we want to use as an excuse is no longer an excuse. So now we're holding each other honest. Okay. We're saying like, hey, in there, also another feature, can't believe Clubhouse doesn't have, you can leave notes. So it's like, if you're in a session, you need to be able to take notes and save it against that session to be able to review it later. So while they're talking, I'm taking notes on their for accountability purposes. We're saying, what does the next 2 weeks look like? All right, These next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be doing this. I'm gonna do that. All right, I got it written down. I read it back to you. Yep, that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. When we follow up, I'm gonna challenge you on this.
So Frank, I'm looking at all these these app pages. That's a lot of app pages. So are you doing all this yourself, or do you have
this is 100% by me.
Okay. So so I could tell you put a lot of effort and time and a lot of thought.
Yeah.
And so what is the best way for people like Chris, to participate in your beta?
So I put the link in the chat. It's build.tryingtobuild.com. If you just fill out that form, I'll go ahead and shoot you over a link and you'll be able to install it on your phone. And we'll just start having small conversations. Right now my goal, is to start getting people just starting to use it, because it's like a lot of people got past the Clubhouse wave, and I think there's a couple reasons for that. But at the end of the day, this is something that this isn't about a platform. Like, this is about your life. Like, this is about, like, are you trying to build or you're not, right? Like, if you're trying to move forward, like, this is the problem from an emotional standpoint. The average small business owner or entrepreneur, they feel alone. I was just talking to a guy. We were meeting up. He owns 2 Smoothie Kings. He owns a CBD shop. Like, he has a tech firm. He has all these things. And he was like, Frank, I feel like I'm on an island. And I was like, I know what it's like to feel alone too. Why do we always all feel alone through this process when we all feel that way? If we all feel that way, then we should understand that, and we should start to connect with each other and push each other forward. If we know that we block ourselves and other people block themselves, why don't we start calling each other out on it? But we have to build trust. Okay. Like, we have to get vulnerable to be able to even say, you know what, I didn't show up last week.
Yeah. So I think, when I look at, your story and so what you did as a founder, you took your life story and actually turned it into an application based on, your engineering problem solving mindset. To kind of go. So that's pretty. So I haven't, I've seen a lot of founders, and I think this is probably, kind of like trying to encompass all the things that the challenges you see in trying to develop an application that can kind of make a difference from an economic standpoint. So we're about out of time. So like
absolutely, I appreciate it though, man.
So do you have any parting advice for other founders, or before we close out?
Yeah, definitely. I would just say that, I've so-called, failed to some other people a lot of times, and it's like, you got to keep going. At the end of the day, like, everything was an experience, and it all, like, even my dad would say, like, everything built up to this. Like, this isn't the first shot. It's just like if they asked Mark Zuckerberg, like, Facebook wasn't his first thing, like, a lot of times there's so much failure behind, like, us getting to a certain place that people see in that moment. So, like, don't get caught up in this, like, man, that's a good idea, and look how it came together. Well, a lot of other ones did not. So I'm just saying, if you're about building and you really want to, like, really focus on yourself and have other people that hold you accountable, have people that actually show up, right? And that's going to be our key differentiator. When a person launches, we're going to show up, when other people aren't. So that's the environment we're trying to create. If you want to be a part of it, check out that link. I would love to have talks with y'all and just continue to build together, man, because it's gonna take us coming together. Like, this individual thing, that's just not the way.
Right. Okay.
But I really appreciate your time, Mr. Rashad. Like, it's been great. It's been
no
great.
problem. And that's what we're about, is letting people share their stories, and so people can see and identify with the founders out there. So like next week we got Dr. Cephas coming on, and she's definitely going to have an interesting story as well. Right out of getting a PhD, getting connected with a company, and within a few years selling that company to Amazon. That's
Nice.
pretty amazing. So
Yeah.
yeah, so there's a lot of good stories out there, and we're gonna move forward. We sure appreciate you coming on.
All right.
I'll check one more time to see if there's any last questions. Okay, so Quinn says it's great for culture, and he also says for the nonprofit function, can businesses nominate themselves or?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay, or
Absolutely.
it needs to be a different user. Okay. All righty, so I think you may grab a few more users from down here. So
All right, great.
all righty, so thanks a lot, and we'll see everybody out
you.
there next week, and we sure appreciate you all participating this week.
All right, y'all take it easy. All right, thanks again. All right, bye.
Bye.